Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sim Racing Alliance. It's season 13. We are starting out tonight strong.
As they do go side by side. It is the formation lap almost done. They will look, all eyes to the lights. That's going to be an amazing start.
And we have a crash in turn 1 already. What's going on?
On to the bus stop straight. Goes for it around the outside.
More contact behind. That is huge. A couple of gainers in that one.
She's given it everything. She has to. I'm not sure that it's over yet, though.
This is the last opportunity.
We're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 14. It's Division 2. It's round number 4. It is Francorchamps. I am Alexa Marshall, joined by Arjun and Ilpo Rootsalainen. And this is definitely going to be an interesting one. Of course, we're back in D2. Last time I was here was Kota. After Snetterton, we now go to Belgium. We're in the Ardennes. It's Spa. What can we expect, Arjun?
It's Spa Day. That's what it is. It's the greatest so-called racetrack according to GT drivers and ACC drivers. And yeah, I think it's a much well-needed change of pace from Snetterton. Not that I hate Snetterton, but Spa's probably the GT3 track, so it's good to be back here. I think for the first time since I think season 10. We might have had it before, but I don't remember.
We had it in... I remember we had it back in season 11, my first season here. I remember we had it there, and it was at nighttime. I can't remember if we had it in season 12 or season 14, but it's definitely one to look out for. You say it's the GT3 track. I beg to disagree because Nordschleifer. But, of course, it's Spa. Arjun, let's go through this. Take us through the track map.
Sure. Track map, Spa-Francorchamps. It has 20 corners. And most of them are high-speed corners. This is an extremely fast track. It's also one of the longest tracks that we have in the calendar, except for Nords. That's not a real racetrack. Turn 1, super tight braking. The race doesn't start there. The race actually starts at turn 2. And then we go on to turn 3, 4, 5. The legendary Eau Rouge and Radion section, which also has a similar corner profile to turn 1 of Coda, believe it or not. That's my Coda glazing done for this week. And then we go on to the Chemo Straight. This is gonna be where we see the driver's momentum of Eau Rouge and Radion shine, how brave they are, how much setup, how confident they are, and how, most importantly, how they optimize the line through Eau Rouge and Radion. As well as the Lexus and Mustang straight line performance, you'll get to that later. And we have turn 7, 8, 9, Lacombs, a really good... This is probably the only chicane I ever like in any racetrack. And then we have turn 10, downhill braking into Brussels. And turn 11, which is actually a really deceptive camber. I don't know if it's off camber. You're gonna get a lot of track limit issues there. I still call it no name. I don't have the updated names for that corner up. And then we have the Pouan section which is a double apex left-hander, long sweeping left-hander. Cars rears are gonna step out. Right side tires are gonna get absolutely destroyed. And we go to Stavolo, I think. Actually, no, this is where my name knowledge of the track corner names actually get a bit blurry. We have turn 13, 14. Really, you need to be super patient in those corners. Turn 15 too, as you need to prepare yourself to open up to turn 16. A good track limit trap there as you go down the back straight into Blanchimont, turn 18. You're gonna see some absolute wild moves there. You've seen Max Verstappen's infamous rookie year move down the outside in the corner, and then you go into super heavy braking zone of turn 19, 20, the bus stop chicane, and that rounds up the track. And also, we also have the longest ever pit lane in ACC or any racing track for that matter. But yeah, that's Spa.
Spa-Francorchamps. It is the well. Nords isn't on the calendar, so it is the longest circuit in the calendar and on our calendar. In the game, technically, no, that's Nords, but we're not racing at Nords. Hashtag unhappy. But we shall wait and see how everything will go. As of course, we have got plenty action to get to whilst we wait for the lobby to be sorted out. But let's go through the teams and drivers, Arjun.
Yeah, sure. The driver's standing right now. Art being at the top. Art and Damiani, they are tied for points. We have 3 races in, and they're still tied for points. These are probably the ones that we're gonna have to watch out for. The BMW was deceptively strong yesterday, and so was the Mustang in the higher diffs. But that's not like, these are not the strongest cars at this track. That's gonna be the Lexus is in P4 and 5. Douglas Mitchell, who won the race, mind you, at Snetterton. We got Doug in races again, and Chris Logan. I haven't figured out his first name yet. But we also have Thomas Holhausen being in P3. He's leading. He and his teammate Philip Elias Mueller, they are leading the team championships right now. As we have Simon Goriel in the 488 between them as our only 488. Well, part of the only 488 team in P6. And then we have John Archie carrying his teammate, nowhere to be seen, in P8 with Patrick Rust. Our first Porsche driver in P9 with Josh Worley, our first Bentley driver. We have 2 Bentley teams, mind you, in this division in P10, followed by David Funk, our sole GTR team, the Funky Town Nissan GTR in P11, with Matthew Schwartz, Doug's teammate, P12. He had an amazing race, unfortunately got a penalty for taking out the BMWs of Art and Roy Key. And then we have Luis Vasquez, who's part of the Looney Tunes car in P13, tied with Schwartz. And we have Harold McDonald and Brooker Quick. They are tied for places in P14, tied for points in P14 and 15 with the other Bentley team of Jack Sullivan. I think this is the Baltero McLaren Bentley, Baltero Bentley in P16, tied with Ian Wheeler in P17, 97 points. And then we have Roy Key, who had a pretty good race outing out here in Snetterton in P18, followed by one of the Super Mario BMWs of Jacob Hall. And then we have Shalina Boonstra, Baldo Vargas, Andre Velasquez, Michael Schwarzenegger, the other 488 in the field, Nico Suave, the other Lincoln Park Bentley. And then we have Ryan Cody, the other GTR, and Timothy Judball rounding up to page 1. On to page 2, we have Noah McComber, who's the other Super Mario BMW, followed by Neil Sutherland, Anthony Kelly, Jess Osborne, Polly Hartman, Matt Schmitzer, Cody Platt, Son Leach, and Ryan Garrity. And Ian Byron being the other Volterra car, I believe. And Nick San, Andy Sweet, Jack Krause, Aaron Anderson, Caleb Craig, who I wish we see some luck from him this race. And we have Henry Ramirez, Elliot Levine, Henry Ramirez, Carlos Guzman, Mark Sutherland, Connor Adams, Matt Diggs, and Pablo Ferrer rounding up the ones with the points. Going on to team standings. The Ferrari 296 team of Mueller and Olhausen, they're leading comfortably with 340 points. However, that could all change this race because you have a Mustang Power Track and the Mustang Power team following behind them. That's Josh Damiani and Ian Wheeler. But the BMW, who actually showed a really strong performance in Snetterton before getting taken out. And then we have the Lexus in P4. These guys are going to be absolute rapid on this track, the ones to keep an eye out for. And we have the 488 hanging on 5th place. That's crazy. You wouldn't expect the 488 to be this competitive. So there we go. And then we have the first Porsche team of Patrick Russ and Quigg. And then we have the Lincoln Continental, Lincoln Park Bentley of Suave and Worley. And then we have the Nissan GTR of Fung and Cody. And then we have the other Lexus team, okay, like Craven Clogain. Then we have P10, we have Vargas and Velasquez. And then in P11, we have the Mario BMW, and in P12 we have John Archty and Matt Higgs in the Lamborghini Lambo. And then we have P13, we have the Luna Motorsports, Matt Racing Porsche of Selena and Jess. And P14, the other Bentley, and rounding up P15, it is Harold McDonald and Jack Krause.
Yeah. And let's go to trackside, shall we? Qualifying is getting underway. Key factor with the Spa-Francorchamps qualifying around this circuit, it is a slight difference into this week. The silver drivers are allowed to do qualifying from 20 minutes 30 seconds to 10 minutes 30 seconds. The reason for that, the gold drivers will not be allowed out of the pit lane until the usual time of 10 minutes, but that 30-second difference is to allow any silver drivers who are on a lap to get away from the pit lane exit, as we do not want any gold or silver drivers clashing when it comes in to qualifying. That is one of the big key factors. But the first lap here is going to be won by the Luigi car in the 220. Let's have a look what will happen as the Mario car is going to be ahead of them as well. Going to be on the throttle, going to go all the way down to turn number 1. It's going to be Jacob Hall who is going to be doing the first lap around this circuit. You can see the yellow flags flying, and it is the first flying lap here at Spa. 18 minutes remain on the clock, so that is going to be 7 minutes 30 seconds left of silver qualifying. This is the key factor with this circuit. You're only going to get about 3 or 4 laps in during your qualifying session, whereas with Snetterton last week you could probably get 6 or 7 down the Kemmel Straight and down towards Le Combe. Like Arjun said, probably one of the best chicanes, not circuits, one of the best chicanes in the game to use. Then out through the left-hander and into the right, over the crest, which is the highest elevation on this circuit, then down into Brussels you will go. Through the elongated right-hander, you gotta be careful because the cars naturally gravitate to the outside line, so you gotta be careful and keep it as tight as possible as you head into the left-hander of No Name. Then you begin the run down to the good old, everybody knows it, everybody loves it, it's good old Pouon, which can be argued sometimes. Could be a triple apex, could be a quad apex, could be a double apex, but you got 1, 2, 3, and then a 4th on the exit. So realistically, there's 4 apexes which you've got to hit, but it's technically classed as a double apex because some people call it 2 corners. Through the right-hander and then into the left-hander. The amount of corners and the numbers depends on who you are asking. Here at Sim Race Alliance, we class it as a singular corner. As we continue going throughout these further and further and closer each time down the run, you know where it goes, you know where to make it. It is Blanchimont, the fastest corner on this circuit. Could make an argument for turn number 6, but I personally argue for Blanchimont. Through the left-hander of Blanchy and then down into the braking zone for the bus stop chicane. This can make or break your lap. And through the right-hander, through the left-hander, and onto the throttle, over the line. Tony Rush saying if we see 218s, he's got a riot. Where will we go for this driver? It's going to be a time of a 2 minutes 17.855.
And we got, oh wait, I have another thing. There we go, I fixed it. But yeah, I think what Chad pointed out is that in the practice race, Logan got a 16.4, which is D1. It's upper echelons of D1 levels of pace. And like I said, the Lexus is super strong here. Schwartz with the banker lap is already in the 217s. Well, the mid 217s. So the Lexus has a lot of performance here. He's right up the bumper of, I believe that's Jess Osborne. Yeah, Yopa, what do you think about who do you think is the one to look out for in this race?
Well, that's complicated because as we know from yesterday, the conditions are actually going to be fairly significantly different during the race. and the temperature shift actually has a fairly large impact on which car is strong. So Aston was feeling really kind of sluggish and bad in quali, but during the race it actually came alive. I'm not sure how that's gonna impact some of the other cars. But I mean, definitely we know that Schwarz is gonna be a strong contender, at least like overall even, not just silver. And we've seen what Logan can do. So those are definitely some names to look at. And there's the usual guys in the gold division who are definitely easily D1 pace to look at. So I think it's gonna be an interesting race.
Yeah, I keep telling D2 Gold and D1 Silver is interchangeable with how close it always is. That said, Schwarz is not improving. We did see him trying to get past Osborne there, so his lap is compromised. One person who is improving massively is Jacob Hall. 7/10 up on his personal best, so that's going to be a 17-1 for him. That's, I believe, 2/10 off what I did in the BMW in D1. So yeah, these guys are fast, rapid. It's just so close. You cannot compare.
I mean, you were also talking about the races with the variability and the weather yesterday. Another key thing to mention about the races yesterday, across every single division, as we now go to the top of Radion, where I'm going to talk about it, where it happened, we saw a big old parking lot in D3. Apparently there were parking lots in D number 1, and there was a car on its side flying through the air in D number 5. So we are going to expect chaos on the race start, because we would not be judged for guessing it would happen from what we've seen so far from the other divisions this season. We have got 12 minutes 48 remaining in qualifying. That is 1 minute 15 seconds left for these drivers to get their lap times in. How will these drivers be able, well, technically 5 4 3 2 1. Now it's 2 minutes. So there's 2 minutes remaining for the silver drivers to get their qualifying laps in around this circuit, currently being led by Jacob Hall with Macomba P number 2 and Schwarz P number 3. Suave P number 4 at the current moment in time. 4/10 up is Schwarz at this moment. That would set him on track for pole, but coming through Puon right there, he has lost 2/10 out of that lap time. A little bit further down, Vasquez 5/10 up on his lap time as well as Osborne, who we may possibly watch. They are 1.6 seconds up on their lap time at the moment. That would put them, I believe I'll just keep that in P number 17 at this moment in time. Of course, it's all silver drivers out on the circuit at the moment, with the gold drivers coming through, and it's going to be interesting. Tony Rush actually filling us in. With D1, it was Brussels where all the chaos ensued, and not Eau Rouge or Radion. So that is going to be a big factor when it comes down to it. There's less than a minute now for these silver drivers to get their lap times in. Of course, due to the nature of the pit lane here, silver qualifying is only from 20 minutes 20 seconds to 10 minutes 30 seconds. To ensure that there is no clash on qualifying if you get over the line between silver and gold drivers.
Yeah, Schwarz has almost got P1 there, but he messed up ever so slightly going at the exit of bus stop. But he still has a shot at this. He's still improving. Another person who's not improving but doing the same lap times. Actually, never mind. Schwarz backs out. He's settling in for P2 in silver. Hall is improving though. And so is the Bentley Suave behind him. Wonder if you're gonna see some dark horses in this race, because I didn't see any competitive Bentley drivers or any Bentley drivers in the higher divs, so we can't say for sure how fast the boat is on this track. But given that it likes straight line, it should be good here in theory.
Yeah, well, the key thing to think about here is who is up and where will that place them. Suave is up at the moment, but only by 2/10. That would keep them in P number 4 at the current moment in time. So there'll be no improvement in prices. Vasquez actually on an improvement of 4/10, nearly 5/10 of his current moment in time as he heads around the circuit. with that improvement, if he keeps it there, that would bump him up into, I believe, P number 5, possibly P number 6, possibly P number 5, and he's now coming through Blanchimont. But of course, bus stop is the key factor around this circuit. It can make or break a lap. Vasquez, unless he gets a major boost out of here, which is highly unlikely because it's bus stop, you are more likely to lose time than gain it. But cut back, as I say that, he goes from 4 temps to 6 temps onto the exit, 5 temps. Where is he going to stay? Where will he go? He goes P number 5, just behind Suave. Vasquez up into P number 5, Suave P number 4, and that is going to be it for the silvers, who, apart from the ones who are currently round on the circuit, the gold drivers are coming out of the pit lane now, a lot later than I thought they would be. So that is going to be an interesting one. Oh no, I say that there are quite a few gold drivers already out on the circuit, so that is my bad. It's the gold drivers are on track now, not the silvers.
Yeah, Suave was improving on his lap, and then he went wide. He went deep into no name, and that just botched his lap. He lost half a second there just by running wide so slightly. So looky here, Doug's not in front. Who's that? It's P27. That's Brooker Quigg in front of Doug. That's gonna be interesting. But yeah, now we see here we're gonna see some absolute bonkers of lap times set over here from the D2 gold drivers. You're gonna definitely see 16s. But the question is, who's gonna be in the 16s?
Well, we'll wait and see. I am going to use some prerogative here. Let's go and watch Selena Boonstra, as we have got confirmation, as per the D1 stream last night, Selena Boonstra, for the first ever time in her history, is on a wheel. So we are watching Selena Boonstra at this moment in time for her first lap, her first flying lap in a race for Selena on a wheel as we head down to La Source. It's gonna be turn number 1. You gotta keep it tight. We've got Jess in the chat hyping Selena up, and you begin to run down to Rouge and Radion through the turn number 2 kink, heading it down the hill, down and through. Rouge you go, you get the dip, you go through the right-hander, over the blind corner of Rouge, which technically is blind because of the radiant, down through and onto the Kemmel straight as you head down to La Combe. This is going to be interesting to see where Selena will put it on a first ever competitive wheel lap.
Look at how smooth her steering input is. That's the sign of being on the wheel. If it's on a controller, there would be a lot of movement in the steering wheel just because you're using a thumbstick. But looks like she is keeping it super clean. She is making some rookie mistakes with the wheel. But look, her lap is still super clean, and as she warms up, I have no doubt that she's gonna get faster. Selena D1 when?
In Selena's words, she's gonna drop divisions because she doesn't need sandbags because the wheel is the sandbag. But we'll wait and see what is going to happen with that as we head out of Puon right now and down into the right-left sweep, as I like to call it, and. And will she qualify higher than a teammate? If I was a betting man, wait. Oh damn, we got a better man in the chat, and he's saying yes, that Selena is going to qualify higher than Jess. Well, we'll wait and see how the sandbagging, how the wheel sandbags will continue and how it will all turn out as 5 minutes 50 seconds remain here in qualifying. It is going to be quite an interesting lap around this circuit. Down through Blanchimont we now go. She's got 3 drivers ahead of her. We'll see where everybody else will go, but that's Brooker Quigg, who's coming out of bus stop, goes to the line, and they will come across. Goes P number 12 at this moment. We'll go back to Selena as she is going to be coming to the line very soon. Douglas Mitchell goes P number 7. You can see her in the background. Selena Boonstra, first ever lap on wheel, P number 21.
Hey, in her defense, it took me like 2 years to, actually not 2 years. It took me a year to get out of the 19s when I first got a wheel. So she's making a lot of progress with literally brand new hardware. She's on her training wheels right now, and she's making that's a pretty good lap from her.
Very, very true. So we'll wait and see what will happen. We've still got a few gold drivers yet to get lap times in. We'll see if we can get any eyes-on perspective for those. Patrick Rust currently sat P number 2, 2 minutes 17.360 with the fastest sector 3. Key thing to point out, even though Hall has the fastest lap, they only have the fastest first sector. The fastest second sector goes to P number 3 of Schwartz, and the fastest final sector is actually for Hall as well. So it's an interesting one. That middle sector being dominated by the Lexus apparently, which would be an interesting one. So it is going to be interesting as the chat is happy that Selena is finally using her wheel. There is a lot of Selena Boonstra support in the chat tonight, and hopefully we'll wait and see. As Ilpo, this is going to be one hell of a qualifying as we enter the dying stages.
Definitely. It is surprisingly hard to do a good lap on your first one here, so I expect that as the laps come in, we are going to see some major improvement in the times. At least when I went out after the first out lap, my tire temperatures at the start of the second lap were nowhere near normal, so the first lap was always kind of a banker.
Yeah, we'll
Let's
wait
see
and
what
see
the
as we
Doug
come.
does. He's going purple. He's gonna take provisional pole. What's it gonna be? It looks like he's dropping time. He had a bad exit. That's P2 for him now, but he's got 2 more laps to give before he runs out of time.
Well, that's the key factor there. Douglas Mitchell would have been on pole position. However, coming out of bus stop, he lost that half tenth, which cost him that pole time. So it's still a silver driver of Hall on top. Arct goes P number 3. Logain now goes P number 2 with a 2 minute 17.140. So that is what it's going to be at this current moment in time. It is an interesting one across the board. It's Hall, followed by Logan, followed by Douglas Mitchell with 2 minutes 30 remaining on the clock.
With John Archie, he's gonna... Oh, we finally got a livery on that Lamborghini here. And that's a good-looking Champion Motorsport livery, must add.
Yeah. Across the line, P number 16 at that moment in time where he will hold it. What about the rest of these drivers, though? Where are they going to line up and go through? A lot of gold drivers still yet to get lap times in. Velasquez does go P number 20 at the current moment in time. The lowest silver driver with a lap time on the board is, I believe, Selena Boonstra.
Actually, no, it's Ian Byron. But both of them are improving, but massively as well. Selena's going aggressive on the curbs and the P1.
Yeah, 4 tenths up, coming out of P1 right now, and then into the right-left sweep as you head into the handle section, because the track basically looks like a minigun. 1 minute 30 left on the clock. She will be able to get one more run in on the lap time and on the leaderboard when it comes down to it, so she will have enough space and enough time. But coming through that section, she has lost so much time through the right-left sweep. She was 4 tenths up, and it is now down and out. No low lap time for them there. Slight improvement for Douglas Mitchell at the current moment in time. Less than a tenth, but still very slight. Could get there possibly as they gain 2 tenths coming out of bus stop, but down to 1 tenth. Where will they go? They will go to the line. Stays P number 2, and that is bus stop showing its favour one more time. The silver driver still up there. What about bus stop for Logain? Currently exactly 2 tenths behind. The race 2 tenths behind. The pole lap time at the moment goes to 3 tenths. This will be on track for pole unless he loses it. It's P number 2, and it's 0.002.
Hold up. 4-8 on pole position? Simon Goriel? That's crazy. But that's not
4-8.
It's not done yet, because Logan is improving a lot. He's nearly 2 tenths up on his lap just through the first quarter. So, yeah.
Yeah,
maybe his sandbags are coming off finally. But we have 2 drivers now in the 16s.
The 488 is actually, with the BOP we are running, it is a strong contender on this track. It's always been decently good here.
Yeah, well, that's the key factor. 0.002, I cannot get over that. But we'll wait and see what will happen here as you head now out of P1 one more time. Looking for that improvement. Low gain 2 tenths up at the moment, at this moment. And P number 3 of Douglas Mitchell, 0.1 up at the current moment in time. And he is on track for pole position. So it looks like, with what we are seeing, it's going to be a shootout for pole between Logain and Douglas Mitchell.
Yeah, both of them are not going fast enough to take full position. Then again, Logan only needs to go 2,000 faster to get pole. Doug, on the other hand, he has 2 corners left between him and pole position. Let's see if he's gonna do an absolute send down the bus stop.
Well, bus stop's the key factor here. Bus stop is where you can lose or gain time. Which one will it be for Douglas Mitchell? Coming out of bus stop, he is 2 tenths up. That drops down to 1 tenth, down to half a tenth. Not a good enough improvement. Stays P number 3. What about P number 2? Low gain resets to the pit lane. They are done with their lap. Currently slight improvement for Archie, but it is going to be
Simon Goriel being the pole position in the 488 with an absolute insane sector 2. So 50. He's the only car in the 59s in the sector 2. But that's a close qualifying between Simon Goriel and Logain. That's 2,000. So that's an insane lap.
And also very importantly for the overall championship, Arct is nowhere near the top.
Yeah, Arct is all the way there in P7. But then again, he is ahead of his rival Josh Damiani, who's in P16. All cars are handed to Doug here, sitting in P3 to do an absolute championship run on this track. But then again, this is Spa. The last in 2 of the 3 races that he had yesterday, half the field died. Nothing is set in stone until for the next 60 minutes at least.
Yeah, nothing set in stone, and we shall wait and see. But we got your racing action coming your way in 2 minutes' time. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
You know, I still haven't had the sponsored video up, so I guess we're doing it the old-fashioned way. Alexa, do you want to do the honors, or should I?
Hell no.
All right.
You do the sponsor. Ilpo can do the grid order, and then I'll do race start. So hand it to me at bus stop.
Cool. All right. Sponsor.
Don't make me do the grid order.
All right, anyway,
Just
sponsor.
reading names.
We're running out of time. All right, sponsors. A huge thank you to our SRA sponsors, title sponsor for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documize, a modern business solutions product management. Go to documize.com to learn more, and support from Retrosaga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience with retrosaga.ca. And a big thank to affiliates Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE. SRA is capitalized, TE is lowercase, at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that'll enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change your way and experience ACC. It's really good for knowing when yellow flags are when you're racing at Spa. AD3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solution, versatile Steam Deck mounts, immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative design enhances performance and style, and it will elevate every lap with top-tier quality and craftsmanship from HCTD.net. Go set up premium esports setup for everyone. Use your affiliate link on Discord and take a drive to the next level. The BMW setups are amazing for Go. Please check them out, they're good. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specializing in town-made Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and Fairy World collectibles, magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall deckers, costume cosplays, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And finally, from KP Concepts, your solution for custom automotive rendering, graphic design, and printing. We spent countless hours making you look good, all for a spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more, and hopefully you can get your division winning poster out for the showy at the end of the season. And yeah, back to you. I guess I could do the grid order. People are in the grid, so cool. Game, please work. There you go. P1, Simon Goriel. P2, Logain. P3, Doug Mitchell. P4, Brooker Craig. P5, Jacob Hall. P6, Nick San. P7? Who's P7? Art. P8, Patrick Russ. There's Art. P9, Matthew Schwartz. P10, Noah McComber. P10, John Archie. P11 and P11 is John Archie. I apologize. P12, Thomas Olhausen. P13, Philip Annis Mueller. P14, Timothy Judabal. P15, Roy Key. P16, Josh Damiani. P17, Anthony Kelly. P18, Nico Suave. P19, Andre Velasquez. P20, David Funk. P21, Josh Worley. P22, Ian Wheeler. P23 is Luis Vasquez. P24, Neil Sutherland. Followed by Max Diggs, Jack Krause, Cody Platt, Carlos Guzman, Mark Sutherland. Both of the Sutherlands showing up for this race. And then you had the Bentley of Ian Byron, followed by Ryan Cody and Waldo Vargas. These guys, Vargas had an absolute amazing race in Snetterton. He's a bit far off in the back. And then we have the Pulsators teammate, Michael Schwarzenegger, who's still on my fantasy team, P33, followed by Jess Osborne, P34, Elliot Levine, P35, Matt Schmitzer, P36, Olinda Boonstra. She's on the BO starting P37, an uphill race for her, quite literally. Followed by Matt Higgs, first showing we've seen of him this season in the other Lamborghini in P38. Great for him to finally show up to a race. And in P29 we have Sean Leitch, P40 we have Jack Sullivan, and P41 we have Ferrer in the pits. But all eyes here on the front, we have 48, which is not really good in the straight line speed, getting hunted down by two Lexuses and Brooker Quick in P3, who I dropped from my fantasy team last week. Yeah.
It's gonna be very exciting going into Eau Rouge and Radion, especially given the mix of different cars at the front. We know that the 488 isn't the best in straight line, but it's also not very bad at it. The Lexus is obviously the king. The Porsche has a really good initial acceleration, but then kind of runs out of top end. It's gonna be very exciting to see who comes out in front and whether it will be too wide or single file.
I think we're definitely going to see a Lexus 1-2 in the at Lacombe's. Like, 488 is pretty underpowered right now. Well, engine specific. It's kind of held on by its absolute bonkers of its ballast, which I believe is -40. Actually, let me check that right now. -30, which is still crazy. Lexus is -25 for Bob. Pretty close to each other. I think they're under Bob, but then again, yeah.
But the 488, the reason it needs the ballast reduction is because it doesn't have the aero of the newer cars. I am pretty sure it's still relatively fast in a straight line from what I've seen.
Yeah. Right now we're gonna hand it off to Alexa to practice your inner crofty.
I give that right. One, I'm not crofty. If I'm gonna be compared to anyone, it's gonna be Harry Benjamin, because I do quite literally use one of his lines. But plus BBC 5 Live is better than Sky Sports, and I will hear no arguments about it. But here we go then, as we head down into La Source, it is gonna be Goriel who lines up on pole position in the 488. He's got a fast, he's got a speedy, it's a straight line Lexus, which is gonna be in front of him. As the formation lap comes to an end, it's gonna go double file here at Spa. We've got the sun out. It's 24 degrees across the board. Optimum track surface. It is all eyes to the lights. And here we go. It's boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing as the green flag drops and away we go. That's going to be an amazing start for the 488. Same for the Lexus. Wheels to wheels, side by side. Going to lose out going through Rouge and Radion. All the way down on the exit. Nice and tidy. Already got contact between two drivers. Going off at the top of Radion. Almost makes contact with quite a few more. Not a big car park like we saw in the D3. But it's going to be 4 abreast, 5 a square. It's an absolute skirmish towards the back. Nice and tidy. Apart from that one contact, drive-through penalty already for one of the drivers. Heading down through Lecom, through the right-hander, through the left-hander. The wall definitely coming in clutch at the top of Radion as you're headed over the crest, over the highest elevation point of the circuit. Nice and tidy. Brussels, where the D1 turned into chaos last week. It looks like they're going to stay nice and clean, but there is yellow flags flying there momentarily. There is a car off in the background. That makes a bit of contact. No big spin though. And that is going to be nice and clean. Side by side, through they go. Heading through No Name. Funk with Sutherland and Velasquez right in front of them. And that person who did have that moment in Brussels was Simon Goriel, the driver who was on pole in this race. He is gone, he is round, and that is it. We were talking about it. We know what happens here at Spa. It goes from one major moment to a major loss. We go and see the replay here of what's happened. Was it contact? That 488 losing so much time on that race start due to the nature of the car. Was it contact? What happens here? Going down into Brussels.
I missed a
about miss out, but I think we can tell what happened. Through the right-hander, slight bit of contact, and round you go. That gives Logan the lead of the Spa GP with good old Bay with Quigg and Douglas Mitchell leading behind him. Right now, Matthew Higgs is going to be on the defensive in his Lamborghini. Car goes off on the right-hand side. Do not get an illegal overtake. Got Selena Boonstra, who is coming up right behind him, moves down the inside. Selena getting past Cody. Down into the bus stop chicane. Nice and tidy. That is a car off in the middle of the bus stop. Was it contact? That is going to be Varaga, who is losing out plenty of time. Hole also losing out after a good qualifying for the silver driver. And Varga is down in P number 40. Funk also down in P number 41 at this moment in time. That is a spin, and around you go for the moment, and that is going to be extremely unlucky. Losing that was Cody on the inside of La Source. We have got a major collision at the top on the Kemmel. One driver round, two drivers round, fourth contact, and that is going to be a major moment. We will get a replay of what happens here. 3 abreast, you don't go there, tries to rejoin, causes a pun. 1, 2, 3, possibly 4, possibly a 5th. He veers across the circuit, but the other drivers taking pretty good evasive action, and that is how you do a lap number 1 with not too many incidents compared to the other divisions, Arjun.
It is absolute tragedy for Simon Gorio from first to last, but that was just a recovery drive from him. But then again, I believe this is the cleanest start to the race we've seen so far all week.
Well, I suppose that kind of depends on how you count. The first lap was mostly okay, but then it wasn't very okay on the second lap.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just dying over here from the start. But we will get to Simon Gorio's incident after the race in the replay. I just missed the mark both ways, so yeah, apologies for that.
The short version is that I think he went a little deep into Brussels with the car on the outside, and there was a small collision between them, and that unfortunately turned Goril into the inside grass, and he had to stay there and wait for the whole train to go by.
Looks like Schwartz is getting overtaken from Montgomery here. But our P1, our podium right now, Seth Asset is low gain, followed by Brooker Quigg, who I dropped from my fantasy last week, and Doug Mitchell in P3. I'm just gonna grab some water. I'm gonna let you guys commentate over what's happening here.
So whilst we let Arjun take a breather, and we do continue here. It's going to be a nice little time as we head down through the kink of turn number 2, down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. As you head up the hill, it's the most known part of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, and of course the track is not up to date. There's a lot more gravel traps, and there is now a big old grandstand there, but we'll have to wait for AC Evo for that when we eventually get SRA in the AC Evo world. Currently coming down into the braking zone, into the right-hander, nice and tidy, caused a squiggle, through Le Camp and through we go, over the crest at the highest elevation and down into Brussels. We saw what happened to Macomba's teammate earlier on. Now we wait and see what happens with him. As we continue here, it is going to be an interesting one. Who got DSQ'd? That is a very, very good question.
That's
as
a
we
329. That's Funk.
a moment here. That was the 329. Yeah, that was the 329. That was Funk. He has been DSQ'd, most likely a spin, and that is going to.
Well, it's probably speeding in the pit lane.
Spin. Or
Yeah.
maybe. No, if you speed in the pit lane, you usually
No, if you go
get
fast enough, if you go more than 70 kilometers per hour, you do get disqualified. So I think that's what's happened to Funk here. I don't know if he let go of pit speed limiter in after the first part, but that's tragedy for him as well. Not a way you want to end the race.
He was reversing in the pit lane until he got disqualified.
That's even worse. Did he miss his pit box?
Yeah, he would have missed his pit box, probably overshot it by quite a bit, and then reversing, and boom bam bosh, Stu would see it, say no, and it is going to be over. As you do not want to miss your pit boxes here, because it's the longest pit lane as well. You're going to be losing so much time. Damiani is going to go for the move down the inside here against Philip Ennis Muller. Looks for the move around the outside, also got the battle in front of Macomba and Schwartz. As these drivers are going to give it everything and anything, going down towards turn number 1 of Les Sources, and it is going to be Les Sources, as that is a terrible French accent, as they go through the right-hander, nice and Clyde, and it is going to be out of Les Sources. I'm doing it because I'm doing it to annoy Argent. As right now, currently going down to good old Eau Rouge and Radion, and to the top. And it is going to be nice and tidy. Look, I'm British. If anybody gets to make fun of the French, it's us.
Crucial for the championship here. Josh Damiani is in the top 10 and not too far off R2's in P5. Improvement from where he started in P7. Then again, Doug is in P3. The P3 in the championship all has and all the way down in P11. So Ferrari seems to be struggling here, the 296 at least. So I think we're gonna see some. This race is gonna have some huge championship ramifications.
Yeah, the 296 is considered pretty tricky here because you have to run very low wing to have the top speed, but that makes the car very sketchy to drive.
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm not necessarily surprised to see that they might be having a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, a stable general behind Roy Keys. I ran the 296 here for qualifying back in season 9. Let me tell you, it bottoms at the top of Radion a lot. It is scary to drive, as Lupo pointed out. And
well, that's the key thing when it comes down to it. When you really got to think about where you got to make the moves as well, as wheel to wheel, side by side. That is going to be Kelly and Jabal and Jabal, and that is going. And that is going to be nice and tidy. Through the right-handers, we will now go towards Blanchimont. And that is going to be a nice little battle continuing to unfold. Macas versus Ferrari. Also got a Beamer right there with them, trying to go forward. They're going to go for a train, and then through Blanchimont we go. Nice and tidy, nice and clean. Where it currently stays, and then down into the braking zone of good old bus stop chicane, and nice, and there looks for the move down the inside for the Beamer. Not going to work out that time. Ford Mustang also right behind him as well of Guzman, trying to keep that space as open as possible. Does not want to lose out too much time. We know how good that Ford Mustang is in a straight line. Almost makes contact with a Ferrari, goes deep into the source, and that is going to give Guzman the opportunity, and they will fly past at turn number 1.
Yeah, that was.
Also,
go ahead.
There's also another thing to consider, which I think we saw there, which is the track limits. I'm pretty sure I saw Jedubal go a little bit wide. You can do that a few times, but if you keep doing that too much, that's gonna come back and bite you, because the drive-through here is rather long and slow.
You did not want to get a drive-through here. As you know, I think it's around 1 minute the pit lane. Just the
yeah,
drive-through.
You
I
lose
think
a
it's a
lot
little
of time.
bit more than a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to pull out the statistics here.
Yeah.
It is 57 seconds from the pit entry line to the pit exit line, but the real time loss is probably about, I don't know, 5-6 seconds more, because you're gonna come out pretty slow from the pits compared to the speed you would carry out from turn 1 normally.
Archie's going around the outside of Art here. Is he gonna stick it? They're both super tight going into style low, but Archie is gonna stay ahead of the BMW. Art is one position closer to Damiani, but Schwartz is right behind him as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing when it comes down to it realistically. How close can you get and where can you make those moves? As we're going down to Blanchimont one more time, and it's really the key factor when it comes down to it. Going to be making their way down towards Blanchimont. The battle for P number 5. It is going to be the Lamborghini in front, followed by the Beamer, then the Lexus. It is currently the race is being currently led by Logan with Quig P number 2, Mitchell P number 3. The gap being 1.8 to the leader, 3.6 to P number 3. It's going to be nice and tidy, as that is going to be very, very deep for Damiani, and that is going to cost him a lot of places for the 777. That is going to be the movement and the time, and that is going to be extremely unlucky for Damiani. As we head down into La Source through the right-hander, we will now go trying to continue on as much as time can possibly get you down out of La Source and down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Heading to the top is where the Kimmel Straight is. That is going to be your key factor. How much is this?
Just for a second there, but yeah, Thomas Olhausen, championship rival, right behind Josh Damiani, with his teammate Mueller in front. I wonder if that's going to be a bit of team orders here to keep them behind.
Yeah, that's always tricky, because you would want to help your teammate. Like, you would want to force the driver between you to slow down if you can, so that your teammate can overtake him. But on the other hand, you would also very much like to stick with the driver in front.
Oh, absolutely. As Damiani is already on the bumper of Mueller here. Yeah, I believe there is going to be some team orders here.
Yeah, Mueller made a pretty big mistake going into Brussels there, and lost a lot of time on the exit, and that allowed Damiani to close by. But as we see, it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, but it's also too early into the season. I don't know if they're gonna be focusing on the championships right now. We're just about to hit the halfway point of the season.
Well, it also depends on if you think, like, if you don't see a realistic chance for like a driver's championship standing, you might already be thinking about the team championship, because like, what do you have to lose if you're not gonna be, let's say, top 3 or whatever? I mean, does it really matter if you're 4th or 5th? If you can win the team.
Yeah. So you gotta go see a dive bomb from Gusman on to Sutherland. Sutherland also goes wide. Both try to outbreak each other, almost running into the back of Kelly there. But seems like the Mustang is gonna get ahead of the Ferrari. The battle's still not done yet. We have Mueller and Olhausen, both of them in the pits in the background there. We're about to enter the pit cycle, and someone did point out in the chat, the undercut is strong here.
It's not as strong as it was on some of the other tracks, because overtaking on this track is not very difficult. I think there's kind of some validity to why people love this track for GT racing so much, and I think it's partly because you can overtake on the straight with better straight line speed. There's a couple of places where you can overtake on corner entry and through mid corner, so I do think it's a really good track for racing. As we see.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And overtaking is
So-
super good as well. Yeah, definitely.
I would say, unless they know how cold it is gonna get at the end of the race, this is very early for pit stop.
Well,
Because it's only 1 degree down now, but it is gonna drop, I think, 2 or 3 more degrees.
yeah, the race will finish in the dark, and it does get cooler as you transition into nighttime.
Yes, so unless you have done like a lot of homework to actually know what pressures you need for the end of the race rather than for now, pitting this early can be risky. Also, I will say there was not that like you could jump people by pitting early, but from what I saw yesterday, if you did that, you were at the realistic risk of losing the position before the end of the race.
Definitely. Like in yesterday's race, I was battling a set of McLarens. They pitted right behind me at the 40-minute mark. I pitted at the 30-minute mark. They were 7 seconds ahead of me. That said, I was catching up to them, but I had other traffic to deal with. As Ryan Cody, he has a moment there. What's happening here? Let's see if you can see the replay. Looks like he just loses the back end. That's another thing that we have to look at. As rear tires go off, the car is going to start getting more slippery. Yes, even the GTR, the most understeery car in the game, can get his tail kicking out.
I think he braked a little bit late and had to stand on the brakes to not hit the car in front. And on the entry to Puan, you can quite easily lose the car if you have to brake really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, even the BMW was like getting squirrely. I actually had to move my brake bias to like around 50 to prevent the car from snapping out.
Yeah, in the Aston, when you're on like a properly fast setup, you can easily spin on the entry to Puan. You have to be a little bit careful there, like how hard you brake and how much steering input you put in.
Timothy Jetable trying to fancy another look down the inside of Roy Key. The McLaren usually tends to run lower wing on this track. The BMW does not. And that gives the McLaren such a big straight line speed advantage on this track.
I feel like the BMW seems to have more acceleration out from the slower corners, so even though Roy Key is making small mistakes here and there, there's just not enough for Jadubal to actually do anything with it. Like, he gets really close, but can't actually get side by side.
Yeah, that's true, but the two corners where we're actually going to see moves, the bus stop and Lacombe's, we might see Timothy Jadubal actually trying to send it around Roy Key. As I have had first-hand experience from yesterday. McLarens are fast here. Do not underestimate the straight line speed. That's it. A lot of the battles have started to die around. We have this battle for P10 going on because of two cars battling and the others forming behind. But we're also in the middle of a pit cycle here. And another thing to note is that because the pit time is so long, and we have drivers who don't have any damage pitting, we can give a good estimate on how long it's been taking. The time to pit is...
It's about 1 minute and 46 seconds from pit entry to pit exit for Miller and Olhausen, who didn't have any damage.
That's an overtake. Guzman tried to look up the inside of Kelly, but doesn't make the move stick. Yeah, it's 1 minute and 46 seconds. That is 2 sectors. The first 2 sectors, nearly. That's a lot of time.
Yep. If you're gonna do an early pit stop here, you have to be careful where you're gonna come out. Like if you're doing an early pit stop from the back of the grid, there's a non-negligible risk that you are in a blue flag hell after.
That's quite the opposite of what you see in normal races. Normal races, people in the front pit, they get stuck behind slower traffic. But the people in the front this time has the advantage here because they're most likely going to come out in clean air. Unlike the people who start pitting from the middle, they're going to be a lap down. Also, something interesting to point out, it's the speed traps. I know, but you love to talk about this. Lexus and Mustang are tied at 275 kilometers per hour.
Yes, although given how big having draft on the straight is here, I'm not sure how much we can play into this because I don't know whether these are solo efforts or in the tow. So, and I think the Mustang can also run pretty low wing here, right?
I don't know. I never driven the Mustang fast enough at Spa, so I can't tell. But we did see Anton Rushevich actually try driving the Mustang. You need to put wing in the car. It is not easy to drive without wing.
Well, that's easy and that's fast. So,
Well, to drive fast, the car should be slightly easier to drive, especially in D2.
I mean, probably for race pace, you would want it to be a little bit easier anyway, because consistency is fairly important. Especially on this track, it's so easy to make small mistakes and lose a huge amount of time.
You have contact. Gusman runs into the back of Kelly there. And Kelly's just stuck. He gets moving now, thankfully, but he's gonna lose so much positions. He's going straight into the pits. That seems like a huge shunt. Oh, battle here, Vasquez. Again on Sutherland. Actually, no, Sutherland on Guzman. Is the Mustang damaged? Is the Mustang front end hanging on by a thread? Is that enough for Sutherland to get past? Don't think it is, but the Ferrari is the closest it's been in a while.
Is there a lapped car in that? I think the GTR is a lap down.
Yeah, I think that's Cody. Yeah, he is a lap down, and he is one of the persons who has pitted.
Thankfully, he didn't impact the fight there. Managed to stay out of the way.
Yeah, I think none of these cars are a lap down aside from Cody. So,
Oh, there was something between Selina Boonstra and Cody Platt.
oh, let me try to find her.
I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I saw some minor going off the track.
Looks like Selena did get past Cody here, so I don't think they're missing out on anything.
I do note that Selena's car seems to have had a little bit of aerodynamic rearrangement.
In the rear, especially, look at that. That's like scuff marks in the diffuser.
That cannot be very much fun in your first race on the wheel in a car that's already a little bit on the sketchy side.
Porsche at Spa. Not the easiest combination. Oh, McComber's in the pits. Yeah, we are right now hitting the 36-minute mark of a race. This is where everyone's gonna go into the pits. John Archie here, he's not pitting. He's on the bumper of Nick Sand. That's a good performance from Archie. The Lambo has been historically strong on this track. And the Lambo is unpopular with the drivers of SRA, so it's good to see Archie, who should be in D1. I don't know what he's doing down there in D2. Try to hunt down Nick Sand.
I think the problem with the Lambo, especially on this track, is that it really doesn't have that top speed. It's really good through the middle sector, but
one car that's not supposed to have top speed, but it does, the Ferrari. I never seen a Ferrari get up that close to a Mustang on a straight. But yeah, we have two battles going on. Two Mustangs getting hunted down by two mid-engine cars. Looks like Nick Sand's gone wide. Archie's gonna try shoving his car up the inside. They're gonna go too wide into Stavolo with the Mustang having the slight advantage. Archie tries to outbraking. There's contact there, just a bit of rubbing, and Archie sits behind Nick Sand.
yeah, it's very difficult to overtake. on the outside to there. If you have the inside, then maybe, but there's just not a whole lot of grip on the outside going into campus.
Inside and a slight advantage. That's what Nixon had that gave him the advantage here. I wonder which of our leaders we're gonna see enter the pit. I think Art has
pitted already.
Art has pitted. Oh yeah, Art has pitted. And
I would predict that the top 3 are gonna pit in about 3 laps, maybe 2.
oh, there's sand in the pits. Archie is gonna try using that overcut. Doug's in the pits. Yeah. So
I would think the rest of the leaders are gonna stay out for like 1 or 2 more laps.
I mean, you got the clean air. Why not just use it?
Because you really want the fresh tires, especially with the temps dropping.
It's dropped
really
1 degree. I think it's fine. This is fine.
It's just that the lap times are so non-linear. Like I still had good tires when I pitted yesterday, but with the fresh tires and the same fuel, I was probably like 7/10 faster per lap. The car just felt incredibly nice.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I got out of the pits, I think I had around 10 laps fresher tires than John Laz. After my tires were warmed up, I just kept pulling away from him, and I actually closed the gap to the guys who undercut me by the end of the race, barred the traffic that I had to have in the form of Anton Vucevic.
Yep, I overtook one. I think that was Moffat. I was gaining like a second per lap. I think he pitted really early. I'm not sure. I didn't check, but he just clearly had no pace. And I was catching the next guy about 8/10 per lap. I just ran out of laps to actually get there and overtake, but I closed by like 6 or 7 seconds. So doing the optimum tire strategy on this track seems to be quite strong.
At the same time, I feel like different tire strats could work out. Ideally, you want to split half and half, or at least like 25-35. Which is what these guys are doing.
I think especially if you have one of the cars with better straight line speed, you just really want to do half and half. Because like I said, overtaking isn't so hard here. If you have the straight line speed to challenge other guys. And the exit from turn 1 is so critical, and if your rear tires are worn, you're not gonna get a good exit from there.
Yeah, and that's our leader in Rapesloke. Speaking of 30 minutes, we are 1 lap from hitting our half-A mark, and our leader is in the pits, followed by Andre Velasquez. Brooker Quigg, he's leading. Porsche is leading at Spa, which... when is the last time you ever seen this happen? But
Probably a long time ago.
yeah, it's been a long time, but I don't think the 992 has ever been competitive on this track. So
probably not in straight up dry conditions.
Yeah.
I think it's been pretty competitive in wet conditions.
yeah, but that's the Porsche's wet performance, which not.
I have a recollection of watching Tortellini dominate some wet race. But it's also just like pure wet, because as soon as you get into mixed conditions, then the Aston is incredibly strong.
We have Art on the bumper of Nixon. Looks like Nick might... I don't know if Nick's lost positions, but Art... Actually, no, Art pitted early, right? He has a fresh set of rubber on. It is gonna be the advantages for him, but clearly his undercut on Nick did not work. What about John Archie, who has finally pitted? You can see that Lamborghini stopped, facing the right way on the track.
Arc pitted 1 lap before Nixon.
1 or 2? Oh, okay.
1 lap.
But that 1 lap is enough. That's 3 minutes of dry running. It's now...
Yes.
Archie comes out of pits. He comes out comfortably ahead of Nick Sand. Wonder if Nick's had a slow stop.
Or maybe just a poor outlap.
Just close.
Yeah, there's no difference in the pit stop times between Arc and Nixon, so it must be just slow outlap.
Yeah. And Archie has been behind Nixon when he pitted, so it looks like Arc has gotten a decent amount of ground on the Mustang.
Yes, now he has to do the hard part, which is overtaking the Mustang.
I believe in Arc. He's not a championship leader without a reason. But then again, it's a Mustang we're talking about, so I take that back immediately. So you have new leader, Neil Sutherland. He's the only one who hasn't pitted yet, I believe. Rooker Quick's in the pits as well. Actually, never mind. Selena Boonstra. Actually, everyone else is just pitting now. I believe somewhat Ferrari. Yeah, not a battle's going on right now, but the one that we do need to keep an eye out for is Arc on Nixon. Archie has run away. He has opened 3 seconds to San. And he also put it later, so he's gonna have the 1 lap fresher tires, which is probably gonna make the difference here. As Arc runs super deep into the bus stop. Not too dramatic here. As he keeps the car within the white lines. But Gusman's on the bumper of Velasquez. Yeah, people got in the pits so much earlier. The fact that they're still in the pits just tells you how long this track actually is, the pit lane especially. As Mueller is closing in on this battle here. Wait a second. All hasn't got ahead of Josh Damiani. Have we missed out on something? What happened to Damiani? What happened? Ask Anton? Tony Rush? Wait, what? That's Anton. What? It's late. Nothing much happened. Everyone's in their pit cycle. John Archie is in P5 ahead of Nick San. And he's not hunting down Doug. Doug's still ahead. And that's a lap BMW in front of him. Not the most dramatic of the races we've seen this week. As actually we have a battle here. Jess Osborne gets overtaken by Matthew Higgs. I think Jess just got out of the pits. But what's important here is Lexus is on top, P1 and 3. As Near Sutherland finally entered the pits. Where's the pole sitter, Simon Goriel? We haven't seen him since the start of the race. But
I believe he just straight up DNF because I think he got involved in that some incident after the first one.
That is tragic. Not the way you want to see a pole turn out to be. Oh, Roy Key on the bumper of Josh Damiani. He probably is trying to help his teammate out in the championship. As Ilpo, I'm gonna let you commentate it. I just need to grab something just far away from me.
Right. So, looking at the situation, we have a fairly large gap at the front, with Logan leading from Quick by over 8 seconds now. Doug Mitchell is still sitting in P3, but a reasonable 4.5 seconds behind Quick, with Archie and Nixon sitting behind them. And
oh, what happened here? Looks like Cody Platt dives up the inside of Matt. And yeah.
Oh, that is unfortunate. Luckily, nobody spun fully, so no one lost a huge amount of time and positions. But yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, I wonder if he's just sitting in the blind spot of Matt. But he's gonna lose that position to Jess and there. Battle up ahead. You have Schwartz on the bumper of Mueller. Wonder if you're gonna see some movement from Schwartz here. He has fallen back slightly, but he is comfortably in the lead of silver. Then Matt Higgs. That was Matt Higgs. This is his first race this season. As I have a car stop, that is Mark Sutherland. Did he spin? Looks like he did.
I went and double checked. Gorilla got hit again on the second lap on the Camel Straight, and just gave up after that, which I suppose is understandable.
Well, let's try this again. Oh, I'm too far back. Great.
It looks like this is gonna be just a solo. Oh,
Yeah, it's just I'm if I had my bet, he spun at the top of her,
yeah.
which the Ferrari likes to do by bottoming out. And yeah, back to an early discussion we had about the 488. One of the reasons why this car was terrifying to drive, and it's fast in a straight line. Oh wait, what? You just disconnected.
I think he blinked momentarily because he's back now.
There we go. Yeah, but one of the reasons why the 488 historically had really good pace in this track, I got in my own the LFM pole with the 488 on this track. Because the 488 is super difficult to drive on this track up Evolution Radio. It bottoms out. It skates across the track. This has a suspension. And yet it bottoms out.
You can spin quite a few cars at the top of.
Yeah, except
radio.
I didn't hit the curb. I just hit the track.
Oh,
The overtake from Ferraro and Osborne. I don't know why I hopped off there, but yeah, overtake from Kelly here, or actually Kelly, his teammate Judable. I'm getting tired. It's been a long day.
oh, that might be enough to bring Jadwal back.
He's gonna have to run this. He's gonna try get the move done even before they get to Blanchimont. Don't look like it. He's going for the outside. Or never mind, he settles behind. That's so wide.
Oh, that's wide. That's way wide.
Yeah, and then just yields there. Nothing much you could do. Bit further back up here. Guzman on the back of Sutherland. He's gonna try sending around the outside. Squeezes the Ferrari. Keeps the inside. Gets the drive out. That's not done yet. They're still too wide. It's gonna be a question of who gets first under the brakes or last under the brakes going into turn one. Still going wide, and it looks like Sutherland slots behind. Never mind, the Ferrari's not done yet. They're still battling. They're gonna go too wide into Evolution Radio. Might be done actually, as Sutherland slots himself behind the Mustang as an act of self-preservation. And here Schwartz gets past Mueller, but seems to have run wide. Oh, Sutherland gets past Velasquez here. There's so many stuff happening. Looks like
It's all kicking up again.
it's all picking up, as it always does. The middle part the pit cycle tends to be a bit boring, and everyone tries to spread apart, and then everyone starts being out for blood again. Mueller is immediately getting attacked by Macomber here. Time to wake up. Oh, Macomber goes
Oh,
so
that's
wide.
wide.
Yep.
And those small moments of going wide are gonna start hurting, because you do that a few too many times, and then suddenly you're on a final warning, and then you have to be like, do I slow down and make sure I don't get the DT, or do I push?
Yeah, that's not a warning spot, per se, because he did lose so much time there. But oh, as Whirly goes wide again.
I mean, you never really know what is a warning spot, because of the way the warnings work. It's less about how much time you lose and more about how fast you're going when you leave the track.
Jelly Ball's on the bumper off the Bentley again. This time not close enough to commit. He's gonna commit anyways. Whirly goes wide. Jelly Ball goes slow. You're gonna be too wide. That's super wide for the McLaren. They're not
It's
done
really
yet.
surprising how fast the McLaren seems to be on the straights compared to the Bentley. Like, I know the Bentley doesn't really have the top speed, but it should be very good at acceleration.
Yes. As you can see the wing. Let's see if... Oh, that's super wide. That must be a warning. But look at the McLaren closing
think
in.
that's fine. The inside on Radeon. Oh my god, that's some closing speed.
And that's gonna be a dive from Jadubo. He is gonna commit to it, and he's gonna get that position from the Bentley after a couple of laps. That's a job done from him. Oh, what's happening here? Plaid has got behind Osborne and Ferrer, and Hicks has fallen back? That BMW's gone so wide. That's definitely a warning. He's alongside Osborne, slots behind him. But that means the Mustang is gonna try getting the run. Oh, braking! Turning under braking. What's happening here? Osborne runs wide. Ferrer runs wide. Plaid goes up the inside.
There's
Ferrer loses
cars everywhere.
positions. Matt Hicks gets stuck behind Platt. Selena Boonstra gets past Higgs, but they're gonna go too wide in Brussels. Will they hog their line? Higgs gets boxed in, but he gets ahead of Boonstra. Never mind, Boonstra gets the inside going into no name. Bumps Higgs slightly wide. Higgs gets past again. Ferrer's looking up the inside. Is that gonna be a 3 wide from them? No. But Selena's gonna hug the inside as to pull on as my game freezes for the millionth time this race. Battle's still going on. They're still too wide, but looks like Matt Higgs has the inside, and he's gonna hit Selena Booster. She goes wide. Porsche behind Schmitzer. That's he gets spun around. That was... Yeah, I don't know what was going on to Selena's mind. I'm pretty sure she was terrified the first time on the wheel, and she's forced in the outside of Stavlo, which is already slippery as it is. So...
Yeah, that's very tricky. I will say, looking at some of the things, Jadubal's overtake on Worley is not surprising, because Worley pitted almost 15 minutes before Jadubal, so there must have been a massive tire difference in that fight.
Speaking of tire difference, I think Josh Damiani has tire advantage because he has gotten past Olhausen, Key, and Mueller.
Damiani definitely, yeah. Damiani has the freshest tires of almost anyone. There's Schwartz and Logan and Quick who have pitted later.
Selena got past Ferrer with an amazing switchback. BMW's gonna have the inside. They're gonna try going up to wide Rouge. BMW gets such a terrible line. He just bounces so bad. But that's gonna put Ferrer into the line of sight by wait, that is Jacob Hall. He's not even in this battle. He's 2 laps down.
And very smartly backs out of it, just to make sure nothing happens.
Oh, definitely these 2 are already out for blood. And speaking of the other green and yellow Porsche, flat on the bumper of Allsport. I wonder if flat has more damage now from that incident.
I would think it's not super significant. It wasn't such a big hit, and I think it was also mostly on the side, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Oof. Well, when did this happen? John Archie already in the on the back of Doug Mitchell. Is Doug on the tread right now?
They have only 1 lap difference in their pit stop strategies, so that is a little bit surprising.
Either someone got their tire set right and someone didn't. I think that's what's happened here.
Also, Arct is right on Nixon.
Right on the limits of track limits there. Look at that. Just trying to hug to the inside, hug on the bumper of the Mustang, trying to get every bit of straight line he could. Nixon's gonna have the inside though, and he's gonna keep that position for now. Battle's still not done yet. Arc is still on his bumper. As this battle's still going on here, Boots are already caught up with Higgs as she nearly runs out of the bumper off the Lamborghini. With Ferrer right behind as well. Yeah, it's all popping off now. Arc is still at the bumper of Nixon, and there's also a battle for P27.
Yeah, pretty much the only thing that there is no battle for are the P123 kind of.
Yeah, I mean, there's a battle for P3 going on right here, but Logan 8 seconds ahead of Brooker Quick 10 seconds ahead of Doug. These guys are having their leisurely Saturday Sunday drive on the Wednesday.
Surprisingly, the fastest lap times. I mean, 17.1 it's good, but it's not quite what you would expect, like after the fireworks in qualifying.
Yeah, as Ferrer overtakes Selena, nearly runs into the bumper of Higgs. But that's gonna be an overtake for the BMW on the Porsche. Battle's still not done yet, as Sutherland is on the bumper of Velasquez. Is the Ferrari looks so close to the BMW on the limits of track limits there. Is there gonna be a dive bomb from Ferrari? Doesn't actually wait, no. Velasquez runs super deep. Pinches that Ferrari, doesn't leave any room for the mid-engine car. But Sutherland's gonna have the inside. He's gonna try doing a dive bomb. This is close from them. Sutherland stays ahead, but you know what this means. They're gonna go too wide into Ocean Radial. Who's gonna back out? Sutherland's chickens out. He loses here. Oh, never mind. Well, he gets a good run.
That's what I was going to say, is that the smart move when you're on the right side is to back out at the last possible moment, so that the car on the left side gets a terrible line and has to lift massively. And then you do this.
Oh, that's an amazing overtake from Sutherland. It's still not done yet. Velasquez has the inside going into the third apex, and they hit! They touch! The Ferrari gets spun around, doesn't get collected, but that's the worst ending you could have of this battle.
That's not ideal. Also, someone just spun in Radion. That was Byron.
Oh, you're in Byron. That's the wrong Bentley we're looking at right now. We have Nico Suave getting overtaken by Krause. This is so close. When you said the smart thing would have been to back out, you kind of hurt my feelings there after what transpired in the practice race on and Sunday races.
I was talking to my teammate about that specific thing earlier after watching the practice race, where if you're on the right side going into Eau Rouge, it's actually really smart to back out at the last possible moment, so you get a really good run up the hill, and you can complete the overtake on the straight, instead of trying to force it too wide.
You hear that, Arjun? This is what you should have done.
Archie has caught up to Mitchell. They are really close now.
Yeah, but going into the front straight, the Lexus is gonna pull away from the Lambo, even with the straight line. Archie's on the limit of track limits there. He's got the better run over on Doug, but
Well, so there might be some other factors in play. Like, Doug might be on his last track limit. And if that's the case, he might have to be lifting just to make sure he doesn't run wide. And that might negate the Lexus speed advantage. So that might turn into a really hot fight.
as one Lambo does the hunting, another gets hunted with Matt Higgs almost getting overtaken by Thayer. Selena runs so deep, so does Jacob Hall. Kraus runs deep as well. Velasquez is gonna try going up the inside of that McLaren. There might be a penalty hanging over the head of the BMW after an incident with Sutherland.
Yeah, but you can't let that really, like, you just have to race the rest of the race as hard as you can, try to pull whatever time you can.
It's just a game of damage limitation now.
Nixon has really lost pace. Arc is still stuck behind him, but now also Schwartz is catching up to them.
Yes, looks like Arc is gonna try going up there on the outside into Blanchimont, who's gonna...
That's not gonna work.
That's not gonna... That BMW runs so wide, but he still sticks behind. What is that gonna mean for the Lexus behind them?
Yeah, there's a lot of these small trains now forming up where someone at the front is a little bit off pace and the guys behind are catching. Oh, yellow flags for Mitchell and Archie. And Archie is past Mitchell.
No! What happened here? Oh, Archie tags Doug. That's the slowest
No.
contact ever. And Doug has spun around. And he's getting absolutely eaten up by Arc and his teammate Schwartz. Arc is on the bumper of Archie. They're gonna go too wide into Lacombe. Nixon has opened the gap up on the BMW. Archie's not gonna let that slide. He's gonna try going around the outside of Arc. He's a position back. What about Doug? He's gonna take the position from Arc. So Arc just spun. Arc is in the wall. He keeps the car pointed the right way. And Schwartz has backed out.
Luckily that was a relatively minor hit, so it shouldn't be too much damage.
Yeah.
Also, importantly for the team championship, Miller has the drive-through, I presume, for track limits.
Yes, he does. And not importantly for the Drivers' Championship, Nixon is in the podium. Actually, you know what? This is going to be important because Doug is right ahead of Art, who's a couple places ahead of Josh Damiani. What a roller coaster of the second half of the race.
Yes. And now we have a really close fight for the top silver between Schwartz and Maycomber.
Yeah, all that incident in front has back Schwartz into Macomber. That's gonna be a battle for the silver win. And the Lexus might have the straight line speed, but if he's boxed behind another car, he's not gonna be able to do much, except for just using the toe. But look at the Lexus just pull away from that BMW.
So by our speed trap, Schwartz,
No!
Schwartz is a full 6 kph faster on top speed.
And now I think they got bumped. She had like a case of domino here. Archie's on the back of Nixon here. I don't think neither Doug nor John have a lot of damage because it is such a slow spin. So they're gonna have the pace.
Yeah, I don't think that particular one has caused too much. Although the gaps have grown and there's only 2 laps, maybe 3 to go. So it's gonna be tough to get anything done.
The other one goes around the outside of Allhausen here. Ferrari's gonna try sticking up the inside, but that is a great move from the McLaren Me car. Alright, racing is really nice when cars can actually, you know, go fast in a straight line. Why don't we race at Daytona?
Because it would be incredibly boring.
With the Mustang domination? Yeah, you know what, Mustang Lexus.
No,
dominate.
it's just boring.
Really?
I've done the iRacing 24 3 times, and I think it's really boring. Every single time, it's really boring. It's fun for like maybe an hour, maybe like 2 hours, and then it's really boring for the rest of the race.
Matic's losing even more ground here to Cody, who started from the pits, mind you.
It's not always the worst move when it comes to Spa.
Unfortunate for him, lap 1 was clean.
Yeah, but lap 2 was not.
Yeah, still cleaner than what we seen yesterday.
Well, we can debate about that, but probably, yeah.
Battle for podium still going strong here. If John Todd getting past Alexis is gonna be difficult, he's gonna have a much bigger realization here as he gets stuck behind. Possibly the worst car you could get stuck behind going into Spa. Well, going behind here, Patrick Ross, who we did see get absolutely murdered at Orush earlier this race. Tried to stage a comeback. So did Kelly. Kelly also got spun around. Ooh, Archie got so close. That's not a high. Oh, Nixon! Oh, he runs Archie wide. The Lamborghini's gonna spin, and Doug runs into him. Art gets P4, and that is a dead Lamborghini and an extremely badly damaged Lexus. He's gonna let his teammate pass. Actually, no, he's gonna hang on to the position.
I feel like his teammate actually backed off there.
So if Nick Sands got a penalty, well, not penalty, but that's an incident from Nick Sand. Wonder if that means Arch is gonna inherit the podium if Nick gets penalized.
That's some drama.
Indeed.
I feel like Schwartz backed out both this time and the previous time, knowing that it's his teammate who is also not in the same drivers championship with him.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now.
And that makes sense. That's really smart driving, because in the end, I think Schwartz is really has a really strong position already in the silver. So the points he would gain from overtaking his teammates wouldn't really matter that much.
But he's getting attacked for position from Macomber behind.
That is true, but he's also still in the Lexus. Like, I think the way you have to drive in these cars that are very fast in a straight line is just to be confident about like not getting overtaken on the straights. You just have to be like, nah, I can defend slow corners, and the other places are no problem. I don't care.
Yeah, but the question is, how damaged is Doug's car? How much is it's gonna slow these Texas teammates down? This is good for the team championship. I think these two drivers are gonna... Oh, Doug runs super wide. I think he can run that wide. I think he has some warnings left to
It's a
use.
final lap.
Yeah.
Doug has very significant front damage. If this race had like 4 or 5 laps to go, that could be a real problem.
Yeah, right now it's just about bringing it home as Timothy Jodabal behind. Still trying to get past Royke. John Archie is in P19 after contesting for the podium. It's also not a good race for him too.
Also, the gap from P1 to P3 is over half a minute.
That's true. Nixon is 26 seconds behind Brooker Quick. Quick is 9 seconds behind Logan. Logan is dominating. Fastest lap is, as Upo alluded to, is a 2:17.8. Not what you'd expect, but he also doesn't have a reason to push. Well, he has a reason to push. It's just that his race is boring right now. Cody Platt has stopped. Is he trying to just let... Yeah, he's just trying to let...
The leader has finished the race.
Please Logan win. Logan get past and take the win. That's gonna be another back-to-back win for the Lexus, as Logan dominates this race and comes home in P2. Brooker Quigg, my ex-fantasy driver, comes home in P2. I'm regretting that decision now. Nixon is holding on to P3 right now from ARC. Are we gonna see any last lap lunges from the BMW? Doesn't look like it. We are gonna see a last lap lunge up here. Macomber and Damiani. Damiani shoves himself past Macomber here. Jodabal also gets past Royke. That's gonna be a close finish from them as well. They're gonna be a photo finish actually, as Jodabal gets past Royke in the final quarter. Anything else? Any more battles? Kraus runs wide. Velasquez gets past him. What about Sutherland? Does Sutherland also get past him as well? Velasquez lets him pass. That's both of them passed. But yeah, that's gonna be drama all the way to the checkered flag.
Yeah, that's some drama. Wow.
Wow, what an insane finish. We're not done yet, by the way. You have Osborne and Mueller. Mueller just served the drive-thru, but he is considerably faster than the Porsche driver. Any last-minute lunges are gonna see? No. What about behind Ferrer? Wait, actually, never mind. No battles here. No lunges here. What about here? Looks like actually Hall just slots himself between Boonstra and Ferrer, so. No drama here. What about here? No, actually, yeah, everyone's finishing double file here. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this race. Our podium sitters is Logan, Quigg, and Nick Sand provisionally. Damn, what a crazy race. Actually, you know what? Before you go on to the interviews, I missed this, right? The incident that involving Simon Goriel in lap 1. I do want to show what happened here, just because I feel like I'm responsible for missing that. So here we are, back in the replay. This is what happened to Goriel. He runs deep and just gets checked up by Art. Yikes. Actually, let's...
Yeah, that's like incredibly unfortunate, because it's such light contact and it ends up spinning him.
And what happened? Oh, he gets clipped! That's what's happened to him. Go with this cam. Yeah, he just gets clipped by Hulk because Buncher 360 takes a Porsche and slams himself into the wall. the worst case scenario for a pole sitter in this race. But yeah, that's what's happened to Simon Gorihill this race. As
That is really unfortunate. Such a good job qualifying on pole in an old car, and then, yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. As we go on to our interviews here, let's see if we can get everyone in to the voice chat. Doesn't look like any of the podium sitters are. You're gonna win this, but yeah. In the meantime, what do you think about this race, Silpo?
I feel like it's unfortunate that we had so many fairly significant incidents that are going to be impactful for the high scoring positions. I would hope that none of those turn out to be deciding the season results.
Oh, I think every race here absolutely has an impact on the championship.
Right. Well, I mean, for the top spot, I'm not sure because there's a certain driver who's a little bit better than the others. But yeah, it's kind of sad. But then again, also we had lots of close racing and mistakes do happen. So
Yeah, it's yeah. But I think this race is absolutely amazing and delivers, and a lot of drama as well to talk about that you would discuss for the next, well, to the end of the season. As right now we're just waiting for everyone to populate the voice chat. I see Brooker and Logain. I was trying to see if you can get Nick Sannon. Doesn't look like it. Never mind. Let's actually start with the interviews right now. Let's start with a race winner this time. Logain. Let me see if I can move him here in here. Logain, you're in the commentary booth. Do you have us?
Yes, I hear you guys loud and clear.
Sweet. First of all, congrats on the win. You absolutely dominated. You sandbagged till the last minute of qualifying, and then you came out on top. Talk us through your race.
Well, I saw the 488 run a 2:16.9, and I just thought that was unacceptable. So I had to try to do something about it. And then, of course, I fumbled my last lap of quality. So, Simon did get to quality. He got pole, so you got to give him that. But the race itself was fantastic. The car felt great. I was watching Doug fiercely to see when he would pit so that I could cover, because I don't know how, but he has undercut magic. And I wanted to make sure that I got out in front of that.
We call it admin abuse in this neck of the woods. But yeah, I mean, you did have a pretty uneventful race for the most part, apart from lap 1.
Yeah, lap 1 was a little exciting. I saw what happened to Simon. I had a moment where I thought maybe I had caused that, going side by side, but I just had to hope that it wasn't my fault. Luckily, it wasn't, from what I could tell.
Oh yeah, it wasn't your fault.
Oh, good, because he would never let me live that down.
I think anyone would let you live that out. If you mean you did take out a 488, everyone loves that car for just showing up and driving.
Right? That's it's just like cruelty to I don't even know what it's called. It's just cruel and inhumane to take out a 488.
Yeah, I mean, you could also say the same for Lexus if it wasn't for how strong the Lexus has been in the past couple of weeks. But yeah, enough in a tangent as it is. This is your first win in SRA?
Yes. I honestly don't know what to do.
Oh, celebrate. You gotta celebrate. You gotta grab a drink, you gotta toast, you gotta spray some champagne or beer or whatever you can find that can't be sprayed, including soda. You gotta savor it. Savor your win. You got any shout outs?
We will say that if I win the season, which seems unlikely.
Seems
what
like
I
a
can do with Shuey.
stretch. Oh,
I mean,
okay.
look, unfortunately, my partner, my teammate, isn't going to be able to race the rest of the season, so I have to somehow get double points everywhere. But that should be fun.
I
But
mean, for the drivers' championship, you have reasonably good chances, I would say.
I hope I continue to do well. As we all know, Arct and Doug and Althausen and all those guys are super quick. Um, I just want to keep driving fast. And I heard that you guys were disappointed with my fastest lap. I'm sorry, the tires were going.
yeah, I think it's mostly just Anton. Like, where was the 16.4 that we saw in the practice race? Where was it?
I don't know. I watched that replay 3 times. I still can't tell you where that 2/10 came from. I was on track to do a 16.7, 16.6 in quali. I have no idea where those other 2/10 came from. So it's magic. I'll blame being around D1. You guys just have like grip aura, and go with that.
We just built different and traded other stuff, but like top speed. But yeah, do you have any
Yeah.
shoutouts because it's your first win?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, old school teammate Simon Gorial and Michael. His real name is Schwartz, but I think he goes by Schwarzenegger those guys are awesome. A lot of fun to hang out with, do practice laps with. Shout out to my currently resigned teammate, Mr. Craig. And yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you for commentating and being hilarious.
Yeah, thanks for putting on the show for us. You guys make the race entertaining for us to commentate on.
Awesome.
Yeah, Oppo, do you have any further questions for him for a race winner?
I mean, normally I would ask about the strategy, but you kind of already answered that, so I think we're good.
Awesome. Once again, I'm a little faster than you expected.
Yeah. Well, we will let you shit talk with the people who you're actually racing against. So yeah. Anyway,
Awesome.
Congrats on winning. Savor your win. Do a celebration or something.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Cool. Have a good one. And that is our P2. There we go. I'm shit talking him. That's our P1 finisher for this race. Logain. Damn. He's gonna trash talk about that for the rest of until the next race. Anyways, on to our P2 finisher, Brooker Quigg. I'm gonna pull him into the chat. Brooker, welcome to the commentary booth. Do you have us?
Oh, hi.
Oh
I
wow,
was
you're
not
allowed.
expecting that. Am I? Okay.
There we go. I fixed it. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that too. I had you in my fantasy team, and you didn't show up last race, so I dropped you, and you came in a podium. Explain yourself. Talk us your race.
Where do I start? Last week I was on a business trip, so I couldn't attend the race, so that's what that was. But yeah, this week, Spa is my most driven track. I think I got 3,000 kilometers. Is that right? I have an insane amount of time at Spa, so very comfortable driving here. And yeah, so just naturally kind of fit in and had really good pace, and yeah, it was good. I definitely was not catching the Lexus, though. I think if anyone's watched the other races, they've seen how fast the Lexus is. So I really didn't have an opportunity to race with him tonight. I think it was Logain up there. He had really good pace too. So yeah, it was just.
How did the car feel? Because I know the Porsche isn't the strongest car at Spa. Then again, I don't think the Porsche is strong in most of the tracks we're racing this season. How did the car feel? Most importantly.
It wasn't actually too bad. I did a lot of setup adjustments to try to just make it more stable, make it a little bit nicer on the tires. So I made some adjustments there, but still really struggled with the tires. I think it's just one of those cars where it naturally wants to ruin your tires a bit. So struggled with the tires. near the end of the stints. But overall, it was like really stable. I did struggle a little bit with Arouge and Radion, especially if I was in someone's toe. So I think it was like lap 1 or something. I was in Logain's toe and I was like, I got to stay here, try to keep up with them. And immediately got like a track cut on the first lap. And I was like, well, I can't do that. So yeah, car a little rough on the tires, but overall it is really fast, like really grippy in sector 2. And obviously it struggles on top end. I think I had a deficit of like 10 kilometers an hour on some of the cars. So overall, pretty good. I would say like it just naturally wants to ruin its tires a bit.
That is the Porsche in a nutshell. No surprises there.
No, yeah.
So, but you got a question for Brooker?
I mean, you kind of had a relatively easy race, right?
It was relatively easy, yeah. I think at one point, who was it? Bailey came into our chat and he was like, "So are you bored yet, Brooker?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like it was just one of those races where I was far back from Logain, couldn't really like do anything with him, and then I can't remember who was behind me, Doug, Nick, and I want to say there was someone else kind of back in there, and they just had a little bit of a gap to me, so it was really me just running my own race, and that was kind of not entertaining. But I still I was trying to do a little bit of purple lapping with Logain. I think he got the purple lap at the end. So trying to keep myself entertained, trying to push for a purple lap, but ultimately couldn't get it. And but yeah, a little bit boring, not really racing anyone, but also happy to not race anyone and get a P2. So
yeah, congrats on the P2. Are you? Is this a journey back to D1?
I don't think so. You know what? Like I might, depending what my like personal schedule looks like for next season, I might, put a little bit more effort in, try to get back to D1.
Oh, come on.
I
Your lap times are like D1 gold on this track.
Yeah. Like I definitely think I would have done well in the D1 race with the pace that I had tonight. I think even Logan would
Your
have been.
best lap is almost 6 tenths faster than mine, and they keep forcing me into D1. So,
but
Well,
you're just
there you go.
fast. You're
So.
just consistently fast. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I know how to score with no pace, but I mean, you have the pace to be in D1. It's just like you need to be confident about it.
Yeah, I definitely do have the pace, and I selfishly I did want to try to give some people some opportunities. That were like the admins kind of reach out to me, and with my lack of driving this season that I'm doing, I want to. I'm not really putting in a whole bunch of effort for the season. Putting in laps just to be comfortable, but I'm not like lap after lap really trying to do well. So I kind of went along with them for a demotion this season, just to try to give some people some more opportunity to actually race with people in D1 that maybe have been like stuck in D2, or just try to open it up a little bit more, knowing that I wasn't racing a whole bunch. So yeah, like I think this is my last race for this season. So Arjun, don't pick me up.
no.
But yeah, knowing the lack of races I was going to do this season, yeah, I want to give people some opportunities, and then obviously still race with some people in D2 and have some fun with it, and try to bring some D1 pace down here to help try to improve some of these guys, and have some good racecraft with them. So
who's gonna challenge Logan and Mitchell and all the other guys if you're not here?
I'm gonna say my teammate Patrick. He's another one of those D1 guys. He's got the pace. I think he can challenge with him. He's just got to get his confidence back and get his feet under him. And I think he'd be able to challenge him week in, week out. But yeah, he's kind of a dark horse a bit. I think he caused a little bit of an accident tonight, but I think he would have had good pace if he wasn't involved in the lap 1. So kind of shout out to my teammate, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you both were like, I knew how fast you guys have. I think the whole of SRA knows you guys should be in D1. You have been there in the past and easily have the pace to compete for it. But then again, I keep telling this every season, every race, D1 and D1 silver and D2 gold, they're interchangeable in pace.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like there's definitely a lot of guys in D2 right now that you look at them and you're like, dang, they should be like D1, like definitely racing up there. And it's really just, like, yeah, like a splitting hairs really of like, are you D1 silver, are you D2 gold? The league is just so compact with people and the racing and how quick they are that it really almost comes down to like qualification tracks and stuff like that, of whether people are good at those tracks or not good at those tracks, that you're like in D1 or you're not in D1.
As if they pay any attention.
Yeah,
to
unless
those.
you're Ilpo, you're perpetually stuck in. Like,
I
he's
did a-
perpetually
I did
stuck in
a-
D1.
I did a D3 silver-ish quali lap, and they still put me in D1.
They just know you're quick, Ilpo. That's what it is.
But I'm
They're
not.
like, no, sandbags are out.
Yeah, but yeah, that's gonna. I think that's gonna be us from. That's all the questions we have. But yeah, congrats on the P2 and enjoy your rest of your time off, and hopefully you get the mental reset to come back to D1. If you need to know how much practice I'm doing, I'm only doing practice on Sundays, the races set by Pat, and the Monday practice races. All right, don't worry about it.
Ooh. All right.
You just need to
So
know
a
how to
challenge.
drive.
So if I do less or more than you, do you think I could get back to D1?
Whatever works for you.
All right. That sounds good.
Anyways, yeah, congrats again, and yeah. See ya.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Arjun. Thanks, Ilpo. Have a good night, guys.
Good, you too. And that's gonna be our P2 finisher for this race, Bricker Quig. And now we have our the bottom step of our podium sitter, Nick San. I can't believe I'm doing this. You know what? Screw it. Let's pull Nick in. Nick, you're in the commentary booth. Do you have us? He's I mean, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Very cool. No interview from Pillars Racing. Yep, doesn't look like Nick is talking. It seems to be AFK. So yeah, that's gonna be us. That's gonna be all the interviews for this race, and that's gonna be it from us this week. Going on to the calendar, next race is Hungaroring, Wet Hungaroring. Do note that next week is off. I think we're gonna have a big grid race or something. There's something planned out for the Wednesday, I believe. I don't know the exact details to it. I mean, I could just look at it right now. Never mind, I see nothing. But yeah, we have 2 weeks off. We're gonna be coming back on May 7th for Hungaroring. I think Elpo and Ivy both absolutely excited to drive. Probably one of the most fun racetracks in the wet. So yeah.
This is gonna sound weird, but I hate the fact that the wet and the track are combined, because I think this is one of my best tracks in ACC. In the dry, I would take wet on almost any other track because I'm generally better in wet. So having wet on a track where I'm not so good would be actually better for me. But I mean, I love the track. It's just so hard to actually race on, but for purely driving, it's fantastic.
So if you have a wet track and you have a track you're good at, are they going to stack up and you're going to get the win?
I don't think so.
But well, hopefully you do.
I also have not really raced this track in the wets almost at all. So we'll have to see about that. But I do love the track. I have probably more laps on it than any other track outside of the normal endurance rotation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great track in the wets. It's pretty fun. But that's in 2 weeks now. And we get a week off. Wow, this actually feels like work. But yeah, that's going to be it from us this week. Thanks for watching. You'll be back on May 7th. So yeah. Oh, okay.